I'm Dr. S, and I like sugar too, but I try to limit it. So what I want to do tonight is to really explain to you so that you'll know scientifically what sugar does to your body. Because when you think about it, and I do think about it sometimes when I want sugar, I think, do I really want what's going to go on inside to go on inside if I eat this? And it does deter me sometimes. So I want to give you that information so at least you know what you're doing. And I'm also going to give you some tips for how to curb your sugar cravings. So, you know, there'll be a little help here too. I want to tell you a little bit about myself. Some of you know me, most of you know me one way or another. Nobody here is brand new to me, but some of you may not know the transition that I made from being an OBGYN doctor into anti-aging medicine. And it was something that was a long, windy, very circuitous route, because when I really thought back for years, maybe 20 years before I started getting involved in anti-aging medicine, I was running across things that I didn't know what to do with. Like somebody once sent me a CD on something called Pycnogenol, which is a wonderful antioxidant from the French pine bark tree. And it just came in the mail, and I didn't know what to make of it. I didn't know if it was just like, you know, way out there and trash, or whether there was something valuable there. And so I just kind of listened to it, and you know, and they just raved about it. Well, when people just rave about things, it really makes you wonder, right? So I just kind of put that aside, and then various other times during my practice career, I ran across things that I now know are part of the field of anti-aging medicine, and a group of doctors that were really on the forefront looking at things a different way than we were traditionally thought to look in medical school and in our residency training. So I've gone through a lot of changes in, I had to relearn a whole bunch of things. I had to re-educate myself about the use of certain pharmaceutical agents, which were the only things I ever knew to give people. I was clueless previously about supplements and minerals and vitamins and how those affect us, because really our nutrition education in medical school was just as shamefully poor, just terrible, and nobody talked about any nutrition in my residency training. And it's not what's in the medical journals. You know, I would read my OBGYN journals, and one of my professors in medical school said, if you pick one journal and read that consistently, you won't miss out on any important breakthroughs in medicine that occur over the years, even if you're a specialist. So I was trained in Boston, and the New England Journal of Medicine is the very esteemed medical journal that's put out by the Massachusetts Medical Society. And so for all 30 years that since I've been out of medical school, I've read the New England Journal regularly. The New England Journal still doesn't tell you about exercise and nutrition. And so these were things that I needed to learn on my own in a different venue. And I learned it in anti-aging medicine. What convinced me that things like Pycnogenol were good, and exercise, why is it good, and why you should eat a certain way, was the very scientific approach that anti-aging medicine takes to their recommendations. So the things I'm telling you are scientifically based. They're not hearsay. And that's what really convinced me. That was one of the main things that convinced me. The first anti-aging conference I went to, which is in Las Vegas every year in December, it's the biggest one in the country. I just started dropping in on different talks. I was new to it, you know, I didn't know where I wanted to go, so I just kind of picked a few lectures out, and I was it was mind-boggling to me how incredibly scientific everything was. People might have been talking about something like Pycnogenol that's derived from a natural product, but they were telling me all the enzyme pathways that it affected, all the cellular signaling pathways. So people knew the, you know, scientific basis of what they were recommending. So that was one thing that was very convincing to me. And the other thing was that there were problems, inexplicable things that patients would come to me with problems over the years, and I didn't know how to help them. And there was nothing in traditional medicine that addresses it. I would say the main one is fatigue. There's not a fatigue pill, you know, there's not a surgery for fatigue, and so if there's not a pharmaceutical and there's not a surgery, I didn't know what to do about fatigue. So that was one of the big ones. And then changes that I would see happen to women during perimenopause, during midlife, memory, low sex drive, weight problems, things that would come creeping in women a lot, starting in their 40s and on. And anti-aging medicine explained it to me. I now know how to help people who are fatigued. I know the kind of things to recommend to them. I know some of the factors that play a role. There are a whole lot of things I can at least try that, for I would say 80% of people, relieves their fatigue and increases their energy. So anti-aging medicine has been really just an awakening for me professionally. It's been really great. And it also came at a time in my life where, you know, hey, I'm no spring chicken, and I need the I need the treatments. And my own journey, among other things, and various health problems, was that my blood sugar was not optimal a few years ago. And some of the things that I'm telling you to look at, we're going to go over, mine were not in the best shape. And through diet, supplements, which I'm going to tell you about some of them, and exercise, activity, I was able to turn things around. And in the course of the last 2.5 years, I work out regularly with a trainer, and I actually lost 10% of my body fat. So I lost 18 pounds of body fat in the last 2.5 years and put on 4 pounds of muscle. So I didn't starve myself and lose muscle and fat. That's not what you want to do. You want to lose fat and maintain or increase your muscle. And by doing that, it changed the way my body used sugar, and the way my blood sugars reflected it. So that's a little bit about my personal story. Things, you know, just because I'm the anti-aging doctor doesn't mean it's a breeze for me. I have my challenges too in terms of my health, but I can see how these things work. So what I want to do is impart to you what I've put together that had the most impact for me as far as convincing me about the role of carbohydrates and then learning what to do about them.